Welcome back, action enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the gritty world of espionage with a recap of the thrilling series, Special Ops, Lioness. We begin in Kobane, Syria, where a woman wearing a black niqab escapes down a rickety wooden trapdoor, searching for safety. At the CIA/Stockholm Forward Outpost, Joe and her team are monitoring activity. Joe's emergency phone rings, and the woman from the trapdoor says her cover's been blown, explaining they saw a small tattoo she has of a cross. Joe tries to collect all the information she can, but realizes there's no safe way to get her undercover asset out quickly and calls off the rescue. 4 years ago, Cruz, a young woman from Oklahoma City, escapes a toxic relationship and enlists in the Marines. Driven by a desire for a better life and a sense of purpose, she excels in her training despite her challenging past. Her resilience and determination make her a standout among her peers, and she's offered a chance to join a special unit. In the present, Joe is debriefing Donald and Kaitlyn at the CIA headquarters in Langley about her compromised asset. He leaves, and Kaitlyn advises Joe to start from scratch with another asset. Joe heads home to surprise her husband, Neil, and their daughters, Kate and Charlie. Their reunion isn't exactly a welcome one. Neil and Joe talk about their relationship state after the kids go to bed. Joe heads out to scout a new asset at Fort Bragg and is immediately shown Cruz, who impresses her by taking down a man twice her size. Cruz meets Joe and seems excited, but Joe is still undecided on whether or not Cruz will be the new asset. Joe shares what the Lioness operation does, explaining that it has evolved into her team getting in with high-value targets' wives, daughters, and girlfriends. Operatives are placed into situations where they get close to the women, and the team can use that information to take the targets down from within. Joe briefs Cruz on their new target as they fly to Kuwait and shares her mark, the target's daughter. At her Georgetown apartment, Cruz exercises through the night to keep herself sane. A team catches Cruz, putting a bag over her head and hauling her into an unmarked car. Cruz has been put into an oil drum and is shown on a cargo ship with people surrounding her. When the cover is removed, Cruz realizes Joe is in front of her. Cruz is viscerally angry and has to be called off, but is interrupted by a call from Aaliyah. She steps outside to take the call quickly and lets Aaliyah know she got into a car wreck. Aaliyah invites Cruz to Chesapeake the following day. Cruz reluctantly agrees, and the team springs into action. We meet Aaliyah, Cruz, and friends in the Hamptons. Cruz says marriage is the last thing on her mind, and once they're out of earshot, Aaliyah admits she doesn't want to get married. Joe's team identifies Asen's brother, Camel, on the beach along with everyone else. He's known to have ties to the oil empire on their radar and is someone to watch. During surgery, Neil is informed that Kate and her friends were in a car accident. Kate is brought into the emergency room with a broken leg and fractures to her spine, all of which will require surgery. Neil calls Joe after Kate is stabilized, sharing that she was in an accident and the car's driver didn't make it. On his way to talk to Kate, Neil's doctor shares that Kate is pregnant. Joe follows Cruz and Aaliyah into a bar. She gets a call from Neil, who delivers the news about Kate. Stunned, Joe takes her eyes off the operation and talks to Neil. Cruz, without noticing, takes a sip. Cruz gets taken out of the bar by the man who drugged her. Joe finds Cruz before the guy can assault her, and the team joins in quickly to help revive Cruz. Joe instructs the team to take Cruz back to their safe house and takes care of the assailant. Kaitlyn lets Joe know that the Lioness team has been caught on video from their operation in Texas, which had multiple casualties. Joe and Kaitlyn show up to meet Neil at the hospital as Kate's surgery is finishing, getting an update from the doctor that everything went well with her leg, but the recovery is somewhat of a mystery. The doctor informs Joe and Neil that Kate's body rejected the pregnancy during surgery. Joe greets Kate when she wakes up, careful and soft as she speaks to her daughter gently. Cruz looks over her texts from Aaliyah, which are frequent and frantic. Before calling her, Aaliyah answers on the beach, asking Cruz to FaceTime, and Cruz obliges. As the two talk, it's clear that feelings are brewing for both women as Aaliyah pushes for Cruz to return to the Hamptons. Aaliyah asks Cruz about her past relationships, and Cruz is honest with her about the abuse she's been through. The pair connect, truly bonding and realizing that they're each other's closest friends. Joe, at the White House still waiting to be debriefed with Kaitlyn, they're called into the panel meeting with several higher-ups, including Secretary of State Edwin Mullins. Kyle is brought in to debrief about Texas and dismissed after some admonishment. Joe and Kaitlyn are questioned, and after some examinations are told that as they move forward with the Lioness operation, Aaliyah explains that her wedding location has been chosen and that it'll be in Mallorca. The two pause momentarily before going back in with more intention, both wrapped up in the kiss. In New York City, Aaliyah asks Cruz about their kiss earlier. She says it's all she's been thinking about, and Cruz agrees. She's thought about it too. When they're finally left alone, there's no talking to be done, acting on every impulse they've been feeling for weeks. Aaliyah finds Cruz clothed and in the living room. Aaliyah asks what she did wrong, and the two talk briefly before Cruz turns off the audio device she has on her for Joe and the team to listen in. She says she can't go to Mallorca and to watch Aaliyah get given away by her father. As Joe prepares to head upstairs and extract Cruz, Aaliyah explains her father won't be at the wedding anyway, as it would be suicide for him to be seen in public. He's only ever at their compound, hidden from the world. Cruz flips the transmitter back on and tells Aaliyah they must call things off. She tearfully lets Cruz know she'll be leaving in the morning and would like her to come and attend the wedding. Cruz accepts, then leaves the hotel to meet Joe and Kyle. Cruz and Joe arrive back at the base and head to Kaitlyn's makeshift office, where she reassures them she didn't get her cover blown. As Joe returns home, Kate is harsh, but asks Joe if the place she's going is dangerous or if she could be killed. Joe affirms, but promises she'll try to come back. The two share a tearful moment, exchanging "I love you" before Joe leaves. Neil follows Joe upstairs and comforts her as she says she can't do this anymore, that she'll be putting in for a desk job as soon as this is finished. The team gathers at the airport, including Kaitlyn and Kyle, all boarding a private jet with their gear. Joe sits across from Cruz and shows her a file filled with every terrorist attack that Aaliyah's father can be linked to. Cruz begins watching the videos on the file, growing graver as she continues on. As the jet lands, Joe provides Cruz with a final check-in and 2 satellite devices embedded in jewelry that are her only point of contact. Cruz is brought to Eshin rather than Aaliyah, and he questions her about her time with Aaliyah in New York. He asks why she and Aaliyah were in tears, and Cruz explains they were both scared Aaliyah about her life changing, Cruz about her life staying the same. Eshin doesn't believe her and slaps Cruz, explaining that tomorrow he'll marry Aaliyah and Cruz will be gone from their lives. Aaliyah lets Cruiser know she'll get to meet her father the following morning at the group breakfast. Aaliyah explains that she knows her father's called a terrorist, but she doesn't know if she believes it. Aaliyah sneaks into Cruz's room in the middle of the night, explaining she doesn't want to get married. She told Cruz that she said it to Eshin, but it doesn't matter because she has no say in her own life. Eshin finds an old photo of Cruz online, one that's attached to her name. He's able to find her, then clocking that she's a Marine and quickly springing into action. In the kitchen, Cruz tries to calm herself down, but is interrupted by an older man who she immediately knows is Amrohi. The two speaking amicably until Eshin bursts in shouting. He calls her out for being a Marine and Cruz springs into action, stabbing Eshin before slitting Amrohi's throat. She signals with her beacons as she runs out of the room, and the Lioness team springs into action to get her out safely. Aaliyah finds the mess in the kitchen, screaming in terror to see her fiancé and father slain on the floor, but Cruz has already started running. The Lioness team gets to Cruz, picking off the security guards as Joe takes Cruz to the water, telling her to swim to the yacht for safety. Cruz makes it aboard and punches Joe before being pulled in by Kaitlyn, confirming she's killed Amrohi. The White House staff, including Mullins, aren't happy that the job is done even though Amrohi was first on the kill list. Joe calls Cruz outside and swings at her again, but Joe tells Cruz not to try it again. The two fight, Joe telling Cruz she changed history, while Cruz doesn't feel she changed anything but oil prices. Cruz flies off the handle, quitting the task force before heading back into the interior. Joe finally returns home to find Neil up early. She tells him through tears that this mission was hard, and he hugs her, letting her truly break down for the first time. That's a wrap on our recap of Special Ops, Lioness. What did you think of this thrilling series? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more recaps and reviews. See you next time.